Welcome back to the Pro Football Historian channel. I'm your host, Flynn Gibbon. We're going to preview all these games this week, all 16. Start off with the Chiefs and the Broncos. Obviously, this game played Sunday Night Football about a month ago, and the Chiefs defensively dominated, did enough on offense to win the game, and Broncos only could score like a touchdown late in the game, something like that. So going into this game, Chiefs going to be playing starters. You got Broncos with Drew Lock. Um, yes, the Broncos are home, but I think the should win comfortably. The Chiefs, they've had the number over the Broncos the last few years, and most of the time it's because the Broncos just can't score enough. And Broncos season's over. The Chiefs, they're trying to play for the number one seed, and yeah, so that's a 4:30 game. Let's move on to Dallas. That's Saturday, I should say. This is also Dallas and Eagles is a Saturday night game, and this game is you're gonna see probably a lot of backups in. We don't know how long we're gonna see the starters on either team. It sounds like from all reports that Dallas is probably gonna play the starters more, but again, we really don't know. The Eagles are home. Dallas dominated the first matchup. I think that was week 3 or something like that. That was Monday Night Football, I believe. So I think Dallas matches up pretty well against the Eagles. If you look over the Eagles last month or two, they haven't really played anyone great, and they actually got teams at the worst times when either COVID or injuries happen. I do really like the Eagles. Their run game and their offensive line is really it's an elite group, but that's really the only thing elite about their team. I mean, they have some really good players. Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, they don't get enough credit how good they are. They just teams they play the run, they leave them one on one, and those players win all the time. But really, Jalen Hurts is either doesn't throw to them or their team's not about the passing game. And if they had a quarterback, or maybe if Jalen Hurts got better, reading defense and throwing the ball, they could take advantage of the matchups outside. But for now, their team's all about running the ball really, and going the next year. As we got the playoffs coming up, we'll see if they build around Hurts or what they do. But, in Dallas, I think they because of last week they didn't really play well. They want to get back on track and at least going in the playoffs. You know, feel good about themselves. This is a team they should play pretty well against. I know Hurts threw 3 picks in the first matchup. Don't expect that. I don't really expect them to play that a ton. So again, we'll see. Um, Dallas will host a game, and the Eagles will be on the road in the playoffs. And most likely, the Eagles will be playing the Buccaneers, and Dallas will play where the fifth team is, which is at the moment Arizona, but it could be the Rams. Moving on, 1 o'clock game. These teams are both alive, the Steelers and the Ravens. They need help. Obviously, they need Jacksonville to win their game against the Colts. They also need, I believe they need a tie in the Sunday night game. No, sorry, not a tie. They don't need a tie. And I believe that's all they need. And a win, obviously, in this game. I was leaning more Steelers most of the week, but they haven't really played great on the road. I don't know if Lamar's going to play or not, but yeah, Terrell Suggs, they're honoring him. I think because they're still alive, they're playing. They're going to be playing their starters. So I'm going to pick the Ravens to win this if I had to. I would pick Dallas to win the Eagles game. I pick the Chiefs, obviously, to beat the Broncos. Moving to the fourth game of the week, the Bengals and Browns. Um, I'm going to go with the Browns. The Bengals are playing a lot of backups. The Browns got a healthy quarterback with Case Keenum playing this game since Baker Mayfield won't be playing. They dominated the first matchup. I think they're going to win this game. But again, Bengals in the playoffs. Don't have anything really to play for. They could get the number one seed if they win, but need a lot of things to happen. The Chiefs losing, Titans losing, so don't see all that happening, and I don't think they see that happening. So they're just going to play their backups. Again, another game where probably you see backup Packers Lions. I'm thinking Tim Boyle's probably starting, but I'm not sure about that for the Lions. And the Packers should be playing the starters. I just don't know how long. I guess it depends also how good they look. They've had some slow starts, so maybe they have a hot start for once. And they have everything clinched. They're not really playing for anything. Lions, I guess, playing for pride. Or thing is, for the Lions, though, I mean, you're at the number 2 pick. Not that you want to play for the number 1 pick, but general managers and ownership, they are the ones that might play to lose, not the players on the field. So you never know. Obviously, Jacksonville plays at the same time. So again, I respect the Lions to play. I wouldn't be surprised if they even win this game. It's just don't know who's playing for the Packers and what kind of lead they might have, if they're even going to have a lead once they pull the starters. Moving on, the Titans and Texans. I know the Texans won the first matchup. The Titans dominated that game. 4 interceptions by Tannehill and other factors. It's the reason why the Texans won the game. It's not going to be rainy. It's in a dome. Again, expect the Texans to win, get the first seed, get the bye week. Well, and hopefully they get Derrick Henry back. Having that and being home for the rest of the playoffs, that's really nice for the Titans. And I don't think a lot of people would have expected them to be the number 1 seed going into the playoffs. And they just can't blow it, basically. And they'll have that number 1 seed, kind of like Green Bay. Now, the Colts and the Jags, I know there's a history of the Jags winning at home the last, 7 so years against the Colts. I'm going to pick the Colts win. Got way more to play for. Not a lot in Jacksonville that's looks good or players playing well. Defensively, they've had some okay parts of the season, okay games. Offensively, they struggle. Yeah, there's about 3 offenses that are just horrible right now. I would put Carolina, the Giants, and the Jags are probably the bottom 3. Could be missing one. Either way, that's how I view it. And I expect, there was a close game not that long ago when they did play a couple months ago. But I'm going to pick the Colts to win on the road. Moving on, Vikings, Bears. It's a little bit tough to pick, but I'm going to pick the Vikings to win. I know the Bears have had some recent history of these splitting the series and not winning both games. And they lost the first matchup. A lot of it was because of pounding and stupid things they did. But Kirk Cousins back. I think they're just going to win. I don't know if this is Mike Zimmer's last game. I'm almost sure it is Matt Nagy's. I've heard it is. So that's why I'm going to go with the Vikings. They're going to play. I don't know if they're going to play for their coach, but again, I just think there's more on the Vikings side that they want to win that game compared to the Bears, who have obviously both teams don't have anything to play for necessarily, but I think there's more talent in the better team. And I don't think they're going to blow that game. Next, football team and the Giants. Going to go with the football team. Way more faith in them than the Giants right now. Giants, it's so hard to win when you only can score like 6, 7, 10 points. Washington can score more than that. For the Giants, I don't know why. After you've seen multiple weeks of struggling, you need to think of something creative to do. I don't care. It's like the Dolphins in 2008 where they go Wildcat. Like, do something. Like, change it up. Right now, it's not working. I don't know. Freddie Kitchens, obviously the play caller, I believe. So it's just not working. Jason Garrett at least was doing something with that group. I know they had Daniel Jones for most of that. year, I should say. All that, and right now they don't have him. So I'm sure that's a factor, but it also should be Jake Fromm this week. I know Mike Glenn's having surgery on his wrist. So I'll pick the football team to win that game. Moving on. This game, I could see Seattle winning, but I'm going to go Arizona. I think they have more to play for. They're home, even though home really hasn't helped them this year. But either way, I think I'm just going to pick the Cardinals. I definitely can see Seattle winning it, but going Arizona, win the game at home, and have a chance to get the home field the home game in the first round if the Rams lose their game. Moving on, a big game for the Saints, still alive. They win this game, a team they've already lost to this year. They win this, and the 49ers lose. They are in the playoffs as the number 7 seed, and putting the Eagles as the number 6 seed. I'm going to pick them to win just because they have more to play for. I expect this to be a close game. Obviously, Simeon played the first game, and they just couldn't do anything in the first 3 quarters. Atlanta's home. In these matchups with the Saints and Falcons, they're both dome teams. Home field really hasn't factored much in who wins this matchup. Again, I'm going to pick the Saints. They at least have something to play for. Atlanta doesn't. That's why I'm going with them. Next, Jets, Bills. The Jets have played much better recently. I don't think this is a great matchup because they're going to rely on Zach Wilson. And the Bills' pass defense is pretty good, especially when they don't have to worry about the run game too much. And the Jets' run game has been better, rightly, since Duvernay Tardif came back. But I think the Bills are going to win this game. Hope for the Jets' sake that Zach Wilson continues to play well, but this is going to be one of the tougher matchups for them. To see if Zach Wilson can play against a really good defense and, obviously play well. But moving on, Rams 49ers is another big game. Rams are right now the number 2 seed. They lose this, they can drop all the way to the 5th seed depending on Arizona's game. So they have a lot to play for. They've struggled against 49ers. So if I had to pick this game, I'm going to pick the 49ers to make the playoffs, get the 6th seed, and obviously that would take the Saints out. Personally, I don't really mind either of those teams in the playoffs, 49ers or Saints. Both defenses I like. Run games. 49ers, depending, if Deebo Samuel's still going to be playing the running back or not. I'm not a big Mitchell guy, but he's played well at times this year. And the Saints with Kamara, obviously that's a threat. They just don't have much going on elsewise. Obviously, we don't know if the 49ers are going to have Garoppolo. He might be done in the year. We don't know. So Trey Lance at least has the running threat, just like Taysom Hill. So they're pretty similar teams. And they got very good coaches, very good offenses, at least play calling wise. So, don't mind either team getting in. So I'm not favoring either team. Just think the 49ers, they match up well against the Rams. They've dominated the series the last few years. So I'm going to go with them. That would drop the Rams potentially the 4th or the 5th seed, depending on the Bucks game, the Cardinals game, Cowboys game. Obviously, they're a 4:00 game, so they'll know a little bit before they play, at least in terms of the Eagles game in Dallas. Now let's go on the New England game. I know they lost week 1 against Miami. I just don't see Miami scoring much. And way more faith in New England. I know they've struggled in recent years against Miami, especially in Miami, but I think New England's going to play well. I think they're going to get the win. And that would give them a home game. Well, not home game, a wild card game if the Bills win. The Bills lose and they win. They win the division. Pretty much, and they're probably going to play the Bills again. Again, can't predict all this, but that's probably who they're going to play. And obviously, Miami's season, I think, is over. I mean, they're 8-8, just like Ravens. I know the Ravens are alive, but I don't think tiebreakers go the Dolphins' way, so I believe they're out. Sorry if I'm wrong on that. The next game would be the Buccaneers and Panthers. I'm picking the Bucs. I know a lot's going on with that team. I could see maybe a slow start or something, but I expect them to beat the Panthers. Panthers kind of like the Giants. They just haven't done much on offense. I like the defense, but again, we don't know. Again, a lot of things have happened. We don't know if Matt Rule's coming back. I would assume he's the coach. I would think it's kind of dumb to fire him. He's not. The problem has been the offense this year, at least. Prior years, both sides weren't great. The defense got better last year at the end of the year. So, like, they have a lot. If you look at their team, other than quarterback, I mean, there's a lot they have. There's not, maybe offensive line they can improve, but like they're not far off. I know that's a tough division though, because I expect the Saints to be better next year. Uh, Again, hard to predict these teams right now, but we don't even know the Saints quarterback will be next year. Probably gonna be Winston, but you never know. Could trade, sign someone, draft someone. But for the Buccaneers, they need to win this game and will at least keep them the third seed. And I think there's a good chance they can move up to the number 2 seed with the help of the 49ers. Moving on to the Sunday night game. Chargers Raiders. Obviously, if they tie, they both make the playoffs. If they don't, one is going home and the other isn't. I'm going to pick the Chargers. I think the Raiders are a great story this year. What they overcome just to get to this point. They win a lot of close games. They're home. It's going to be a very loud stadium, I would assume. I just think the Chargers match up well. And the Raiders, if they can't run the ball, which we'll see, they should be able to run the ball in this game. They can't run the ball. There's no way their passing game is going to pick apart this defense. I know teams have done it, but I just don't see with the skill set and the players and the scheme that the Raiders have to do well in the passing game against Chargers if they can't run the ball. So I'm just going to, I think there's more ways the Chargers can win. I'd rather see the Chargers. I think they're a better team. Slightly better quarterback. They're both good quarterbacks, don't get me wrong, but I think the Chargers are going to win this. And that's all the games. Let's move on to some of the news. Let's go quick. So, J.J. Watt is designated to return. I wasn't even sure if he's going to come back this year, but we'll begin practicing, so they might have him for the playoffs. I guess it's just Metcalf, extension stuff. Interview with Byron Leftwich, a former Jags quarterback, maybe the coach of the Jags. And they just, again, the Raiders just cut Will Compton, and they re-signed him. So, that's just probably for getting a guy on the roster or something happened on the roster, so they just decided to sign him back. Someone's looking at anything big here. Virus list for Larry Ogunjobi. Anthony Brown and Tyron Smith on the virus list. Not big this week, at least. Don't really see anything. Not good for those. Deontay Johnson on the virus list for the Steelers, if that's, going to keep him out of this game. Yeah, Cam Akers probably going to return this week. Really good for the Rams. Helps in that game against the 49ers, you would think. You got some declaring for the draft, some players. Colts workout, Prince Mamukamara. You haven't really seen him all year. A little bit surprising, Because the Bears cut him and doesn't look like, he was on the Saints for the preseason and he got cut then. I don't know the reason exactly why he got cut. Maybe just, obviously they had Paul Adebo. Maybe they just were hoping if he didn't perform well or look good, they would just win with Mukamara, but that was not the case. Tony Brown's now waived. Big story. There's so many people talking about it. I'm sure you know about it. Don't really need to go over that. Patterson wants to stay. Of course, he probably does. He's got the most playing time. He's been used the most probably in his career, so why wouldn't you want to stay? Denver, we're not sure about him staying. Not sure if Justin Fields will play because of the virus. We already talked about Tyron Smith. Go over a couple more news stories. Kirk Cousins wants to finish with the Vikings. Not surprising. One thing is, what people are not talking about, he really can't be tagged because I think he's tagged twice by Washington. He's tagged again. He's going to make like 66 million, 60 some million. No team is going to do that, especially for Kirk Cousins either way. So he has all the leverage. If he's just going to do it for money, he can go to any team that's going to willing to pay him. If he wants to say the Vikings, I'm sure they'll offer something because that's why they drafted Kellen Mond pretty much. They want to have an option to go to another quarterback if Cousins was going to play the money game with them. But obviously, Mond's really struggled. All I heard in camp and preseason and practice. So again, this is rookie year, so it's not that important, not that big. But they don't really have another option right now that they can trust or expect to be the starter next year. So, guys, more declaring for the draft. That will be it. I appreciate you listening. Thanks for watching, and enjoy my next video after the regular season ends. Should be Tuesday. We'll talk about the playoff matchups coming up later in the week, probably a week from now. Again, thanks for watching, and goodbye.